In a world obsessed with intellect, speed, and information, there exists another kind of intelligence, one that cannot be measured by IQ tests or academic degrees. A deeper intelligence, the intelligence of clarity, of presence, of discipline. To be smarter than 99% of geniuses is not to know more. It is to need less. It is not to speak louder. It is to listen deeper. You do not outthink the genius. You outlast him. You outfeel him. You outsee him. Not with your eyes, but with your insight. In the Shaolin tradition, we do not speak of being smart. We speak of being clear. Clarity is the result of silence. The fruit of stillness, the reward of discipline, is what remains when the fog of ego has cleared. The monks of Shaolin do not chase intelligence. We refine awareness. We do not collect information. We cultivate wisdom through repetition, through sweat, through breath, through presence. Our research is done not in books, but in every movement, every breath, every moment of resistance, until resistance is gone. Geniuses may impress the world with brilliance, but brilliance is not stability. And without stability, brilliance collapses under pressure. What makes you smarter than a genius is not what you know, it is what you can endure, control, and transcend. The modern world trains the mind to be fast. We train the mind to be still. And in stillness, you will see the patterns behind chaos, the rhythm beneath noise, the truth behind words. The monk is not the fastest, nor the loudest. He is the most unshakable. Clarity over intelligence means recognizing that raw intellect alone does not guarantee wise decisions, meaningful action, or inner peace. In the Shaolin perspective, a sharp mind without clarity is like a sword in the hands of a restless child, powerful, but dangerous and without purpose. Clarity, on the other hand, is cultivated through mindfulness, disciplined observation, and the ability to strip away unnecessary thoughts and distractions. It is the ability to see situations as they are without distortion by ego, desire, or fear. A person with clarity does not get lost in complexity. Instead, simplify focus and move with intention. While intellectuals may accumulate data and theories, the one with clarity cuts through confusion and perceives the essential truth of a matter. In Shaolin practice, clarity arises from silence, breath control, physical repetition, and presence. It is not about thinking more, but thinking less and perceiving more deeply. Stillness as strength is a concept often misunderstood in a world that equates movement with progress and noise with importance. In the Shaolin tradition, stillness is not inactivity or laziness. It is the active cultivation of internal equilibrium, the deliberate slowing down of the mind so that awareness can deepen and perception can sharpen. A still mind is not easily disturbed by chaos, pressure, or distraction. It remains anchored regardless of the external storm. Through practices such as seated meditation, standing stances, and slow, mindful movement, Shaolin monk learns to quiet the internal chatter and become fully present in each moment. This kind of stillness creates a space between stimulus and response, a space where clarity, control, and choice are born. In this silence, that insight arises, not from forced analysis, but from observation without judgment. While the world runs faster, the monk remains steady, and in that steadiness lies a profound intelligence, one that does not react out of habit or fear, but responds with precision, patience, and power. Monk discipline versus intellectual ego highlights a fundamental difference in how wisdom is approached and internalized. The path of the Shaolin monk is one of humility, structure, and daily repetition, where the goal is not to appear knowledgeable, but to embody understanding through direct experience. In contrast, the intellectual ego often seeks validation, recognition, and status. It thrives on being seen as clever, being right, or winning debates. While intellectual pursuits can be valuable, they can also become traps when driven by ego, leading to arrogance, impatience, and detachment from the present moment. The monk, however, embraces the beginner's mind every day, willingly engaging in the same forms, the same breathing, the same movements, not because he does not know them, but because he knows there is always more depth to be discovered. Discipline sharpens the mind through the body, through action, not through abstraction. It strips away pride, builds resilience, and fosters an unshakable foundation rooted in consistency rather than cleverness. True mastery in the Shaolin way does not shout. It is silent, grounded, and expressed not in words, but in the way one walks, breathes, sits, and meets life moment to moment. Wisdom through experience, as taught in the Shaolin tradition, stands in stark contrast to the modern tendency to equate knowledge with intellectual accumulation. In the monastery, wisdom is not something you acquire from books alone, but something that is earned through the body, through sweat, struggle, and silence. A monk does not simply learn about patience. He trains it day after day by holding a stance until his legs tremble and his mind begs him to quit. Not just read about humility. He is humbled each time he returns to a form and realizes how much more there is to refine. This is research, but not the kind done with charts and hypotheses. It is a lived, tested, and embodied inquiry where each breath, each repetition, and each obstacle is a lesson in self-awareness. Shaolin wisdom is forged in discipline, not in theory, and because of that, it is deeply rooted, resilient, and transformative. Not enough to know a teaching intellectually. One must live it, apply it, test it against adversity, and let it change the nervous system, the posture, the breath, and the way one meets the world. Presence is power because it grounds the individual in the here and now, allowing for a depth of awareness that surpasses mere intellectual understanding or reactive habit. In Shaolin practice, presence is cultivated through rigorous attention to the body, breath, and surroundings, training the mind to remain fully engaged with each moment rather than drifting into distraction or anxiety about the past or future. Heightened state of presence creates a clarity that cuts through confusion and hesitation, enabling swift, appropriate action and deep understanding. When the mind is present, it does not get caught up in unnecessary judgment or analysis. Instead, it perceives situations with calm detachment and responsiveness, seeing the subtle cues that others miss. Presence also fosters a connection between mind and body that strengthens resilience, focus, and calmness under pressure. The power of presence lies in its ability to reveal the essence of what is truly important, making the practitioner not only more effective in physical practice, but more wise in daily life. This skill, refined through meditation, martial arts, and mindfulness, transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary, allowing one to move through the world with quiet confidence and unshakable balance. Endurance beats brilliance by revealing the profound strength that comes from sustained effort and unwavering patience, rather than fleeting flashes of genius or rapid bursts of insight. In Shaolin training, endurance is not just physical stamina, but a mental and spiritual fortitude built through years of disciplined practice, daily challenges, facing discomfort head-on. While brilliance may dazzle with quick solutions and dazzling intellect, it often lacks the staying power to navigate the complexities and unpredictabilities of life. Endurance, by contrast, cultivates resilience, a steady, persistent force that endures setbacks, fatigue, and doubt without losing direction or composure. The monk learns to embrace difficulty as a teacher, understanding that true mastery unfolds slowly through repeated trials and the quiet accumulation of small victories. This slow burning strength transforms not only the body but the mind, creating a foundation that is solid and dependable. Where brilliance can falter under pressure, endurance holds firm, allowing insight and wisdom to deepen naturally over time. It is through this patient perseverance that one becomes truly invincible, able to withstand the storms of life with calm, steady resolve. Listening over speaking embodies a profound shift from the desire to assert oneself through words to the deeper capacity to receive and understand what lies beneath the surface of communication. In the Shaolin tradition, true listening is an active practice. It is not merely hearing sounds, but tuning into the subtle vibrations of intention, emotion, and energy that accompany every interaction. This kind of listening demands patience, humility, and a quiet mind free from the urge to interrupt, judge, or respond prematurely. By truly listening, the monk cultivates empathy and insight, gaining access to truth that remain hidden when attention is scattered or distracted by the need to speak. Words often obscure meaning, but deep listening dissolves these barriers, allowing one to connect more authentically with others and with the environment. In training, monks learn to listen not just with their ears, but with their whole being, sensing shifts in posture, breath, and tone, and responding from a place of centered awareness rather than reaction. This attentive listening enhances perception and decision making, enabling the practitioner to navigate complex situations with grace and precision. The power of listening lies in its ability to foster genuine understanding and to create space for wisdom to arise naturally, without forcing or rushing. Ego is the fog that clouds true perception and distorts intelligence by weaving illusions of self-importance, separation, and judgment. In the Shaolin way, the ego is seen as a barrier that obscures clarity and wisdom, binding the mind to habitual patterns of craving recognition, validation, and control. This fog leads to fragmented thinking, reactive emotions, and a sense of being trapped within one's own mental projections rather than responding to reality as it truly is. The disciplined monk strives to dissolve this fog through meditation, self-reflection, and rigorous training that pushes beyond the comfort zones of pride and attachment. As the ego recedes, the mind becomes lighter and more spacious, able to perceive with honesty and openness. Surrender does not mean loss of self, but rather the emergence of a more authentic, grounded presence, one that is free from the distortions of arrogance or defensiveness. Without the fog of ego, intelligence is no longer about proving superiority or winning arguments, but about embracing humility, accepting uncertainty, and seeing the interconnectedness of all things. This clarity allows for wiser choices, deeper compassion, and a balanced approach to life that is both firm and flexible. In this way, transcending ego is not a denial of the self, but a liberation into a more expansive and profound intelligence. Mastery through simplicity reveals that profound skill and deep understanding do not arise from complexity or extravagance, but from dedicating oneself to the repeated practice of fundamental principles with unwavering attention and care. The Shaolin tradition, the path to mastery, is walked not by chasing grand achievements or flashy techniques, but by returning again and again to the basics. Breath, stance, movement, mindfulness, until these elements become second nature, ingrained in the body and mind like the steady rhythm of a heartbeat. This simplicity creates a foundation of strength, balance, and precision upon which all higher skills are built. The monk embraces this simplicity as a source of freedom rather than limitation, recognizing that when the essential is fully integrated, one can respond to any situation with ease and grace. Complex situations and challenges no longer overwhelm because they can be approached through the lens of these simple, well-honed skills. This repetition is not mechanical but alive, infused with continuous awareness and subtle refinement, making each moment of practice an opportunity for growth and insight. In this way, mastery is less about accumulation and more about peeling away the unnecessary until only the pure, effective essence remains, allowing true skill and wisdom to shine through effortlessly. An unshakable mind is the supreme strength that emerges from disciplined training, deep self-awareness, and the cultivation of inner calm amidst external turmoil. In the Shaolin tradition, the mind is trained much like the body, through rigorous practice, patience, and repeated exposure to challenges that test resilience and composure. Unshakable quality does not mean rigidity or emotional suppression, but rather a profound flexibility grounded in steadiness, allowing one to remain centered regardless of circumstance. When the mind is unshakable, like a mountain standing firm against the wind, unaffected by distractions, fears, or pressures that might unsettle others, this steadiness enables clear judgment, measured responses, and the capacity to navigate complexity with confidence and balance. The monk's mind becomes a sanctuary of peace and strength, able to absorb shocks and disturbances without fracturing or losing focus. Such mental fortitude arises from the integration of breath control, meditation, and mindful movement, creating a harmonious flow between body and mind that anchors presence and clarity. This unshakable state that distinguishes true wisdom from fleeting brilliance, making the practitioner invincible not because of superior knowledge, but because of unyielding inner stability and grace. then smarter than 99% of geniuses is not to boast of intellectual triumph, but to embody a wisdom far beyond the grasp of mere knowledge. It is to walk the path of clarity, patience, and presence, cultivate a mind unshaken by chaos and a spirit tempered by discipline. The greatest intelligence is found not in endless thoughts or loud words, but in the quiet strength of a steady breath, the calm endurance of the body, and the unwavering stillness of the mind. In this way, we transcend the fleeting spark of genius and embrace the enduring flame of true mastery, a mastery born from simplicity, silence, and the profound lessons of experience. Is the intelligence that the Shaolin monk has practiced for centuries, and it remains the highest form of brilliance one can attain.